This is the Hollywood Outsider. My name is Aaron Peterson. I am your host. And with me today are my co-hosts, Brian Williams.
Hello.
Hello. And Justin McCumber.
Howdy-ho.
Hello. I wasn't expecting that one. We are a movie and TV entertainment podcast where we talk about the newest movie and TV news, some review any new releases that are out, talk about upcoming releases as well as ongoing discussions. We'll also mention DVDs and kind of flashback to some older DVDs just to give you something to look at later on in the show. But right now, how are you guys doing? Everybody have a good week?
Mm-hmm. It's been good.
Yeah.
Anybody do anything exciting or riveting? Crickets?
Went to a haunted house. Well, it's not a house. It was a walkthrough at Wild Adventures theme park.
And what does that mean?
They've got a little area that is it's kind of a swampy animal viewing area. You know, you look at that kind of stuff. So,
is this where they do that mud fishing or whatever they call it?
No. You don't interact with the gators or nothing like that. But
wow.
Anyway, they turn it into kind of like this little haunted. It's like a haunted house, but it's through this little walking area. But it's about
with
a
the
half
fucking
mile
rabbit
walking.
animals. That's awesome.
Do what?
And with the rabbit animals.
With sheets over them.
So what do you do in this haunted animal trashing park, whatever the hell this thing is?
You know, if you would shut the fuck up for a second.
Touche.
So no, it's a walking path. You know, that's that they just turn into a kind of a haunted area. You know, kind of like a haunted house and stuff, and you know, try to scare the shit out of you. But it's like a half mile long, and you know, parts of it was kind of funny, but the other parts, you know, there was a few parts that were pretty scary. So,
did you cry? Did your wife hold you?
No, but we got she was holding on to me as
right.
We were being pushed in the back by this little kid and her parents. So that was kind of funny. They got scared and were just like, "I'm getting the fuck out of here," and just started barreling through, and we were in the way. So
I think that's awesome. Well, I'm glad Justin, did you do anything exciting? Did you go through a haunted alligator park?
Now, my wife isn't. Ever since we saw Blair Witch years ago, that movie pretty much ruined her for any horror experience, whether it's a movie or a haunted house. That film just blew her brain, and so she won't go to these things. She won't go see them. So if I'm going to go, I have to find someone else to go with, and everybody else that I know is busy. And so, unfortunately, the haunted house traveling or visiting, I have not done.
Oh.
I did try making pickles yesterday, though, so that's much less interesting.
I tried making pickles.
Yeah, my wife and I are trying this new diet plan, and part of it is, you know, trying to eat more healthy, local, organic, blah, blah, the hippie bullshit. And trolling around online, looking at different sites and news and recipes, and just happened to come across one for pickles. And I thought, I love pickles. But lately, make all your jokes. Should I stop now?
No, they're all in my head.
Okay. Try to keep them there. Lately, my taste for store-bought pickles has really just declined. Fuck off. Because they're either too salty or... Anyway, I'm making some of my own. I'll see how they are tomorrow. You guys can all kiss my ass.
Hey, you're the one talking about your taste for store-bought pickles.
Yeah, we all like salty pickles.
Oh. Well, with that, I haven't done anything nearly as exciting as tasted a salty pickle. So, we're gonna go straight into movie news, and we'll talk about some of the stuff that's going on in the movie world. First thing up, Ben Affleck was determined as the selection by the studio to make it The Stand, the big screen adaptation, not the shitty TV one. Word is that he's interested in doing a biopic on Boston mobster Whitey Bulger with Matt Damon, but the studio settled on him, so now it's kind of in debate. But they want Ben Affleck to do that. Justin, you're a huge King fan. What do you think?
Well, I think Brian is too. I like him as a director. I'm just not sure if a post-apocalyptic style story is something... I mean, just because you can direct a good movie doesn't mean you can direct any movie of any genre and style. He seems to have a real talent for, you know,
Crime
the
drama.
Boston area.
The Boston
Yeah.
gritty drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily going to translate to this post-apocalyptic story. I would be curious to see him do it. I think that there are probably better directors out there for it. I'm hoping this isn't the studio just going, let's get a director who's hot and hope that carries things through. Because I think with this story, it takes more than a good director. It's going to take a lot more.
Brian?
Yeah, I have the same worry because it's, you know, the first thing I thought of was, it's like, well, let's get Gary Marshall to direct, you know, the Chronicles of Riddick, you know, movie or something. It's kind of like, okay, yes, good director, but is it the right, you know, genre for him? And, you know, I mean, somebody trusted him to even give him, you know, a director's job in the first place. So, and I mean, he's pretty much 2 for 2. I mean, he's had,
I would
2
say,
movies.
yeah.
So
Yeah, Gone Baby Gone and The Town.
yeah, and they're good. So, but the subject matter scares me with him. So, but we'll see what they do.
I think that's a big and trusting of a director, I think, because the story itself is very large in scope. And you're right. What I've seen him do has been that big, huge genre of small Boston crime families. So, I mean, if he's the guy, then I'm sure they've seen something that made them think that. But I would think he should probably stick with the Boston mobster flick.
I wish they would get somebody like J.J. Abrams, who has a passion for King stories, and who obviously has great talent at making fantastic film and television.
I would love to see that. That's a movie I would like to see.
Mm-hmm.
Another one I would love to see, but not kind of how it is right now, is the Battlestar Galactica feature film, not a continuation of the TV series, the recent TV series. Is going to be directed by Bryan Singer and scripted by John Orloff, who wrote he's one of the Band of Brothers writers. I'm excited for this. Well, let me finish. I'm excited for it, but a little reluctant because apparently they're basing this feature solely on that fucking TV show from the 70s, 80s, whenever. That's fine and all, but the new series is the one I like. I mean, that's really the one that I thought had character and drama and could propel a story. And the original one was just kind of like a cheesy Star Wars ripoff. Am I wrong?
It's too soon. I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously the newer TV show is what's present in everyone's mind. I think this is going to cause nothing but confusion.
Were you a huge fan of the show?
I fucking love it. I mean, I've got the complete series on Blu-ray.
Oh, wow.
Love that show. I thought it was phenomenal. And fuck all the haters who didn't like the ending. If you didn't see that kind of ending coming, then you weren't paying attention. This show was a spiritual show.
I thought the ending was very
sci-fi
good.
Trapping.
I thought the ending was very good, actually. And I saw Kara Thrace's ending coming a long time before that. So I don't understand people that were freaked out by it. What?
But doing a movie based on the original show, I don't know how they're going to advertise this thing, because they're constantly going to have to be putting on, not based on the newer show, because people are going to be confused by it. I think it's too soon. I don't know what's driving Bryan Singer to want to do this.
I don't know either, because the only thing I could think of is that most of the people that would see something like this would have a knowledge, like the youth of America would have a knowledge of the most recent show, not of the old 80s one. I mean, that's really for us old bastards that were actually alive then. I can't imagine anybody's just dying to see that made into a movie.
I personally would rather, it appeals to me more being based on the old one than the new one. I absolutely, with a passion, hate the TV series.
What?
I know I'm.
Are you one of the haters that I just said fuck off?
No, because those are the haters that hate the ending. I hate the whole fracking series.
Wow, he said fracking.
And that was the one thing that I hated about it, because that use of the word frack, I counted 20 times in one episode and said, that's it. It was absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. They were using it in places you wouldn't even use the word fuck.
It became like the word Smurf.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Smurf.
Exactly. And I just
Smurf
absolutely
you.
hated it. I tried watching it probably 3 or 4 different seasons, and I bet you I've made it through one full episode.
I think the episode in season 3, Exodus, I think it's called Exodus Part 2. If that's not the best hour of television ever fucking produced, I don't know what is.
Which one is that one?
Nothing you can say to convince me of that.
It's the episode that features Galactica falling through the atmosphere. It is just from beginning to end drama on top of drama.
Oh, okay.
And the whole thing with Colonel Ty and his wife. Oh shit, that episode destroys me every time because it's such highs and such lows.
Well, you guys can just shower in Cylon jizz for all I care, because that show sucks.
But fracking works a hell of a lot better than Farscape's Pharrell ever did.
Yeah, frack works. I like frack you, Brian. I was one of those people that was a late comer to the show, but I love the show. But I also have fond memories of the original, which I'm assuming, Brian, you kind of have fond memories of the original? Yeah,
I do. And
would you like to see
that's what appealed to me. That's what drew me to the new version. And it was just, So I don't know what they're going to do to make it any different. I don't know how they're going to make it more like the 70s versus the 2000s, but that appeals to me. But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Justin, since you're a Wachowski lover, I'm going to let you kind of field this one, because obviously you worship them a lot more than I do. But the Wachowskis, who did the Matrix trilogy, they're taking on a film called Jupiter Ascending. Why don't you take it from here?
Well, it's a story that they're writing, so I've got a lot of hope for what they're going to do. Yeah, I mean, I'm an unabashed Wachowski fan. People want to say whatever they want about the sequels, and it's a free country. And if you want to be completely fucking wrong, then you are free to do so.
I love your open-mindedness.
But I, and probably a couple of others out there somewhere, all recognize Matrix Reloaded is the best film in that series.
Anyway. Jupiter Ascending.
But in the article that you posted about Jupiter Ascending, I will make one further aside.
Okay.
They said the Wachowskis, whose most recent misfire, Speed Racer, fuck off. Speed Racer was fantastic. And I will debate anyone who hated that film.
So Jupiter Ascending.
Jupiter Ascending. It's a sci-fi movie. Unfortunately, I didn't see a lot about
way to steer that car back on the track.
I didn't, in the article, I didn't see a lot about what Jupiter Ascending is about.
Okay.
It was the article was mostly about the Wachowskis.
Right.
This is going to be their next film. It's a film that they are writing and directing. And it's going to be their, newest film since Speed Racer, but of course The Matrix is a film that they're known for, and so that's one that always comes up. I'm excited to see what they do. I love the imagination they bring to things. I love the talent that they bring to their projects and their unabashed passion to it. So I will be in line with my money for anything Wachowskis do, kind of like I am with anything Joss Whedon does. These guys push my buttons, and I'm there for it. And a new sci-fi story, fuck yes, please. Here's my money right now. Take it.
Fair enough. Brian, are you looking forward to this? Because you and I both are kind of, well, I think we are. I really loved the first movie. I just kind of liked the second and third.
Yeah, I appreciate the depth of those movies, and I heard a little bit of kind of like what Justin talked about, what was it, last week or a couple of weeks ago, about the religious aspect, the theology aspect, just from a whole bunch of different angles and everything. So that kind of gave me a little bit deeper appreciation of, some of the more philosophical aspects of that series. But yeah, I mean, of course, the first one to me was the best one, just because it was so new. It brought so much new special effects that we had never seen before, and that's, I guess, why it stuck with me. But as far as this Jupiter Ascending, because it looks like they're just creating this from the ground up, right? They're not remaking a movie or a book or something like that, right? They're
property
creating this, so bring it on, man. This, they got plenty of plenty of clout. So
I kind of am of the same ilk. I'm looking forward to what they can do.
I do want to say though one other quick thing.
We love Speed Racer too.
For not fucking mentioning Larry Wachowski's sex change into, what is it, Lana Wachowski? Can we all as a society accept
What?
What?
Is that,
this man?
is that what that, huh?
Well, now I don't want to see it.
Can we all accept that this man made a choice? It's a choice that affected nobody but fucking him. And
He had a sex change?
move on. Yes.
So are they brother and sister now?
Yes. Can we all just move on? Because for the longest time, people
Well, no,
kept
you
making
can't move on.
jokes and little.
We
sneak
didn't know
remarks.
that.
I had no idea.
I had
about
no
that
idea.
Shit, so
I don't.
I would like to think that we
you're
as a
breaking
society-
news to me, man. I can't move on just yet.
Fuck.
we as a
I feel like I'm
society
in the Matrix.
Should be able to move on from transgendered people being something that we need to make jokes about.
I feel like I'm in the Matrix. Sincerely,
Wow.
my mind is blown.
You guys didn't know this?
No, I didn't
Had
know
no,
that. I
No
don't-
idea that he
Yeah,
was.
Larry Wachowski's now Lana Wachowski.
Huh. Well, that
Thought Lana was like his wife or something. Amy's wife or something. I had no idea that was.
well.
No.
Let's go on
So-
because I definitely don't want to get into the transgender genre. Because I'll go on about Chaz Bono, who, by the way, did very well on Dancing with the Stars. But that's beside the point. Milla Jovovich. Who else thinks that bitch is crazy? I'm just, I'm just asking.
Crazy hot.
She is crazy
I
hot, but
love-
she's crazy. And Brian,
you know
I'll
what? That just makes him a little better in the sack.
kind of.
Just kidding.
Brian, let me tell you from historical data, that's absolutely true. Brian, you can take this over. Milla Jovovich blasted the studio on Twitter. Was it Twitter?
Yeah.
For not promoting the Three Musketeers. Why don't you take it?
Yep. Basically, the gist of it was she didn't feel like the studio that made the Three Musketeers, Summit Entertainment, who is responsible for the Twilight, franchise. She didn't feel like they were promoting it enough, and so she basically put out a call to her Twitter followers who said, tell me what do you think? What do you think? Do you think that they're how do you think they're promoting it? What do you think are they doing a good job of it? And to me, this is kind of where she messed up, because that, to me, you're almost railroading the people to say, okay, no, they're not doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, of course they said, no, they're screwing it up. And she just, she blasted them. She said, I think Summit have swept Three Musketeers, a great family adventure film, under the rug in the U.S. Shame on them. Shame on you, Summit. So she was a little bit bitter, but I don't know.
I think she's crazy as hell. I love her. I like watching her just stand there, but she's fucking crazy as hell. And the fact that she's barely got a career as it is. I mean, the only thing she's got going
for her husband.
Yeah, if it wasn't for her husband, she wouldn't have shit. Who's Paul W.S. Anderson or whatever. But to sit there and bash the studio that just signed your check, I mean, God bless her for having balls, but goddamn, that's dumb.
I think she's wrong too. I mean, I've seen no end of commercials.
I
for that
agree.
movie.
I just think
Yeah,
people didn't want to
I do
see
too.
it.
But I think it's one of those things to where, you put something out there like that and say, do you think this studio's, I think this studio or I think whoever is screwing up. What do you think?
Well, they said shame on you. She said shame on you. That was one of the things she said. And I don't know if she meant directly the studio, but that's how it was interpreted, because people like to interpret things. And it just skyrolled or barrel rolled, whatever the word is.
Snowballed.
Thank you.
Skyrocketed.
Thank you.
One of those.
Skyrockets in flight. I don't know. I'm still stuck on people
Delight.
got their penis cut off and I didn't know it. It's just, God, it sounds painful.
God, you are such a tard.
Oh
Now,
boy.
I'll tell you, I've always kind of liked her, but I became a real big fan of hers when I watched Resident Evil on DVD with the commentary, the cast commentary.
Okay.
But she's funny.
She is funny.
Yeah, she is funny. I've seen her in interviews. She's actually very funny. Who knew?
Gosh, she was in that fucking Ultraviolet movie. Oh, Jesus.
Let's not get on that again.
Yes, let's go.
Next piece of
Moving
news
on.
is Akira. Akira, the anime cartoon.
Akira!
I think that's how you say it. It got the green light, and Gary Oldman and Helena Bonham Carter have already been offered roles. Don't know if they've accepted them, but they've been offered. I don't really follow what this fucking thing is, but apparently it follows a leader of a biker gang who has to save his friend who was discovered to have...
You've never seen Akira?
No, let me finish describing what it is. He has to save his friend who is discovered to have destructive psychokinetic abilities, and he has to save him from government medical experiments. I've never seen it, don't know anything about it, but it's a big deal with the Uber nerds. So
fucking fail, bro.
Why do I fail? Because I don't like anime.
Akira, but there are certain. I feel like there are certain films that no matter whether or not you kind of like the genre, you should still watch just because of their cultural presence. Okay, you may not like crime movies, but you should still watch The Godfather. Okay. You know, you may not like sci-fi, but you should still know what fucking Star Wars is. To me, Akira is one of those films that is so, I guess, within my circles, is a huge property that everybody knows. I don't think that it's fit for a live action movie, but then again, I said the same thing about Speed Racer. Ended up loving that, but Akira is a beast unto itself. It's an animated movie based on a manga, and it is so fucking weird. I don't know how they're going to do it. I really don't know.
I agree that it is one of those landmark movies. You know, you should try to watch it, you know, just because it is one of those, you know, Star Wars, Godfather, Jaws, Seven Samurai, you know.
Okay.
It's just one of those types of movies. That being said, and that's why I watched it. I mean, I tried watching it, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years after it came out. But I've tried to watch it 3 times and I've fallen asleep every time. So,
well, that's a big selling point. I should get right on it.
No, I'm not trying to sell it, but I mean, I understand Justin's point though, as far as that it is. I understand the bigness of it. You know, it is a big movie, and you should watch it if you like cinema, even if you don't like cartoons. It's, you know, it is a landmark movie to watch, but I just couldn't get into it.
Understood.
So, it's a difficult movie, and it's a long movie. And
Aaron, why do you have to say like Helena Bonham Carter like you're reading Antonio Banderas or Puss in Boots?
I don't know. I just like her name. Her name always makes me think of like she couldn't decide what she wanted to do. So, Helena Bonham Carter. Bonham? I can't say her name right.
Bonham, yeah.
Bonham.
She's Tim Burton's Bottom. Coming up in sequel news, Captain America 2 is going to be set in present day, which no spoilers. So I don't want to. Well, no spoilers. I don't want to ruin it because it just now is coming out on Blu-ray. So anybody that hasn't seen it, I sure don't want to ruin anything about the film. But the sequel is going to be set in present day, apparently. Are you guys okay with that, or do you wish they go back in the past?
Yeah, no. But what are they going to do? Are they going to tell one of the stories of one of the facilities he broke into or destroyed that was 5 minutes in the movie? No, I think the new one has to be present day.
Absolutely. I know, Aaron, you're a big, you know, we've talked about this, you know, a few months ago that that you really like the World War II setting. And,
yes, I did.
I did too, to a certain extent. But Captain America, you know, he's a modern day hero. And I'm trying not to say anything that would ruin the ending, but
can we get that girl back?
Let's just say it has to be set in the present day.
Can we get the girl back?
Oh God, please, can we?
Because she was gorgeous.
You know, one thing though,
Patty Atwell, I think her name was.
I wish they would figure out a way to bring Bucky into the present day. Because in the comic books, you know, Bucky's a rather, I wouldn't say he's a huge character, but within the Captain America comic, in that little section of Marvel, Bucky is a sizable character, and he is in the present day with Captain America. So I wish there was a way that they could do the same thing for the character in the movies. But I don't think they probably will.
No, but I think they'll find a way to get her in there somehow.
That'll be more of like the 4th or 5th movie that they, you know, redo or something. When they reboot the series or something like that.
Right, when they do it in a few years, yeah.
Yeah, they probably will with Edward Norton. Other sequel news, there's a couple sequel news. Ghostbusters 3 Sony is possibly considering axing it, even though it was finally a go, because Bill Murray's lack of interest. They basically said if he's not part of it, they don't want to do it. which
I don't care. Shit or get off the pot.
I want him to do it, and I want
him
Murray to
to
stop
do it.
being
I'm
an
trying to get my
asshole.
dick teased.
But I'm tired of like every month there's an article coming out. It's it's green light. It's he's probably going to do it. He's probably not going to do it.
He's kind of a dick at this point.
I just don't understand him. He did the voice in the video game. Obviously, he doesn't have an issue with Ghostbusters. Why is there such hesitance in the film? I don't.
Maybe he wants to be the star of it and not be like handing the reins over.
I'm tired of this bullshit.
All right. Well,
like Brian said, shit or get off the pot, people.
Well, then we'll move on. This is a segue into our trailer talk, but Sherlock Holmes 3 is already in the works. It already has a writer and a story idea. So
sure,
that's great since the second one isn't even out yet.
I think it's fine.
No, I think it's fine too because I love Sherlock Holmes. The more the merrier, and I hope it's another Moriarty story. Which brings us to trailers. Every week we like to talk about some of the trailers, the newest trailers that have come out. We try to pick the most prominent 3. The first one that we saw was Sherlock Holmes' Game of Shadows. Now, we had mentioned it a long time ago when the show first started. We were kind of getting our feet wet, so to speak. But now that we kind of know what we're doing, I kind of want to revisit it since the second trailer came out. I'm pretty pumped. I think it finally looks like a movie I want to see.
Well, I think the guy that plays Moriarty looks perfectly cast. He is kind of what I envision Moriarty to look like. But it's one of those big movies that I really don't need to see a preview about. I'm going to go see it anyway. But it's just neat to kind of see what to expect.
Mm-hmm. Justin, do you want to see this?
I am shockingly uninterested
because of the trailer.
I don't know. The trailer was fine. I mean, it was okay. I don't know if this stems from the fact that I didn't see the first Sherlock Holmes until it hit DVD. I wanted to see it, but when it came out, strangely enough, my wife and I were on vacation in London, which you'd think would be the perfect place to see it. But we were there over the Christmas holiday, and so nothing was fucking open. And we never got to see the movie while it was there. And when we got back, Christmas, so busy, blah, blah, blah. I never got to see it till it hit video. And when I saw it on video, it was all right, but for some reason, it didn't do it for me as much as it did for other people. I also have to wonder if Iron Man doesn't have something to do with that. It's like I see Robert Downey Jr. so much now as Tony Stark. It's hard for me to pull out of that and see him as somebody else, and that's entirely on me. So I will probably go see Game of Shadows, but most likely it'll be when it hits theaters. I mean, it hits video. I don't know. For some reason, it just doesn't feel like Sherlock to me. I don't know. Maybe it's too so gritty, or the fighting, or I don't know quite what it is.
Yeah,
and I have to say, Game of Shadows, I hate that title.
I do too.
It's far too close to Game of Thrones.
I kind of wish they just would have...
Oh, don't get me started.
I kind of wish they just would have went Sherlock Holmes 2 or something simple.
I will say, though, that the guy they got for Moriarty, I do like him. And I'm surprised they went with him. I would have thought they would have gone with someone a bit bigger of personality. Because this guy's... Yeah, I first saw him in Fringe, and now he's on Mad Men. And for a Brit, he's just a very low-key kind of guy. And I would have thought for Moriarty, they might have wanted to give Sherlock Holmes a villain that was as big a personality as he was. And this guy doesn't seem like that at all. He's much more of a laid-back kind of villain. And I do think that's a good way to go.
But that may play into like the sneakiness of him or something.
Right, and I think that would play.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it, but you guys can always see the trailers we're talking about on the website at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. The next one is In the Land of Blood and Honey. That's Angelina Jolie's directorial debut, and it looks like a look at an unlikely romance between a couple people during the Bosnian War. He being a soldier and she being the captive, which sounds kind of hot, but it's not really at all. What do you guys think this looks interesting? I mean, like, this is your directorial debut, and it looks like it's a Lifetime movie.
It looks like Oscar bait to me.
Yeah, it does a little.
Yeah.
It looks so grim.
And sad.
I think that's what threw me out of it the most.
There's no way this movie ends good.
No. She's going to get raped
Somebody's
like 14
gonna
times. She's going to get raped a lot. He's going to be sad about it, but he probably did the raping, or his best friend did the raping. And then Angelina Jolie is going to show up at the very end to narrate. And I don't, it just seems so predictable from what I saw. Like
it looks well done.
Yeah, it looks like she can direct. But I'm sure she can hire people to make it look like she directed. I don't, do you guys think?
I go to the movie to have a good time. This does not look like a good time.
It looks miserable. At all. It looks like Soldier, the movie or Savior, the movie I talked about like a long time ago with Dennis Quaid. It looks very similar to that. And that wasn't fun. So I can't imagine this is fun of any kind.
Did you ever see I believe it's called The Gray Zone with Steve Buscemi?
I didn't see it. I've heard of it. Is it good?
No. It's
all right.
I snorted.
It's one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen, and it's a World War II concentration camp movie, and that's all I thought about by watching this movie was that this is like it. It looks like there's scenes that are good, and there's parts of this movie that likely will be pretty good, but the ending, I can almost guarantee you that the ending will suck.
Okay.
And it just, like I said, it just reminded me so much of The Gray Zone. Even though I know this is Bosnia, that was Germany and stuff, but, anyway, it's just, I know there's going to be a lot of women out there that want to see it just because it's a romance, and they love war romance movies and novels and stuff, and I'm sure that's who they're going for with this, but...
They're going for the chicks that like to be bonded and held prisoner and then violated. And then tortured. I'm just saying. That's what it's about.
What a tard. You are a tard, aren't you?
I like baseball. Chronicle is the next. Seriously, it doesn't look like a fun movie, and it doesn't look happy. So if you hate life and yourself, go see it. In the Land of Blood and Honey. Chronicle is the final one. This is the one that everybody's pretty psyched about that I know. And it looks like it's about 3 high school kids that gain superpowers somehow and then start to exploit them and start having fun with them. But it's kind of one of those found footage flicks, so... It's
like Superhero Activity?
Yeah, it's like Superhero Activity. I'm pumped. I think it looks awesome.
It looks like it was really well made. And it looks like that documentary or that found footage style without the stupid shaky cam of Cloverfield.
Well, and that it centers on kids who do... take pictures of each other and film each other quite a bit. It makes total sense that these guys would be doing that. And that's one of the things about found footage movies. You're always kind of dancing on the believability of, would somebody really film all this? Kids, fuck, if they don't have a camera on them these days, I think they would just collapse into a heap of inactivity. They're always getting their picture taken or getting filmed. So that seems completely believable. And I loved that in the trailer they don't give you a hint of what's caused all this until the end when they reverse back to a time before the trailer started. It kind of reveals some kind of maybe alien or some weird shit that they find that gives them these abilities. I think it looks really cool.
I just hope it's not like an hour and a half of MySpace face or something, with the sideways peace sign or something. Hey, look at this. I can lift a building up. Woo woo.
Well, it looks like it gets really dark, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
It looks really cool. I was very surprised. This is one Brian let us know about.
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised. When I first was reading about it, from what he sent us a little link. When I was reading it, I'm like, what? A found footage superhero movie? Because we haven't had enough of that shit. Found footage, I mean. And then you actually watch the trailer, which you can do on thehollywoodoutsiders.com. And it's pretty awesome. I think it looks like it'll be a fun movie. And it's kind of cool seeing kids slurping. What was that? Seeing
who let Godzilla in here?
I'm so sorry.
It's pretty cool to see that kids that get superpowers that start taking advantage of them, as opposed to this I'm gonna be responsible bullshit. Because they'd fuck your world up, man. They would trash your yard and probably that's how kids are. Let's be honest. So those are the 3 trailers that we saw. Sherlock Holmes, Game of Shadows, or Sherlock Holmes 2 is what it should be called. In the Land of Blood and Honey, that's that fun flick about torture. And Chronicle. So you can see those on our website at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. That's it for movie news and trailers. We can move on now to the big screen. That's where we talk about what's out now, anything that we've seen, and what's coming up down the pike. Justin and I both saw Paranormal Activity 3. Paranormal Activity 3. So we're going to review it for you right now. This one is a continuation of the past two movies, and it's really about Dennis is kind of the Katie and Christy from the first two movies, Mound's boyfriend. Takes place
the Micah of this film.
Yeah, the Micah of this film. Takes place in 1988. He sees that there's some strange going-ons in the house that he lives in with Katie and Christy, which are the two girls. They're little girls because it's obviously 20 years before the first two movies happened. He starts setting up video cameras all over the house, which apparently has the same clarity as the high-quality cameras of today. Just saying.
Don't think about that.
And a bunch of shit goes down. Justin, what did you think of it?
I liked it quite a bit in certain spots. I'm worried that I'm seeing so many of these types of movies that I'm becoming a little jaded to how they work. Let me first say that I love the reason why this guy started filming the house, and that it didn't start. That it started believable. I mean, what's so funny, and I'm not spoiling anything, early on in the film, the male protagonist wants to film himself making love to his goodly girlfriend or wife. Did they ever say if they were married?
They weren't married, no.
Okay. Anyway, he wants to, of course, film them having sex. And it's funny that it took 3 films for this to actually pop up. I think Micah tried to do it in the first one, and, she just wasn't having it. But anyway, they set the camera up to get into some wanky business. The house rattles from what they believe to be an earthquake, and maybe it was. They don't really say. And then when they flee the room, the camera falls and catches something. And this guy, because he is a wedding photographer and has, this whole setup in his garage to edit together movies, of course he's watching this footage just to check it and sees this. And then because he has this business, he has access to cameras, he has access to editing equipment, so it's completely believable, the scenario that's created. As far as the scares went, though, I didn't find it as scary as I did the first two. I think because I saw a lot of things coming, and I think a lot of the reason I saw that is because I am getting used to this style of film. Especially when he sets a camera on a rotating pad. You know almost immediately, okay, this is set up so that when it sweeps one way and then sweeps back, something will be there. And so I'm constantly looking for it. Unfortunately, because there was only 3 cameras, it kind of limited the way they could tell their story. I did like, though, the ending of it. I thought it was a really fun and scary ending to it. I didn't see some of that coming. All in all, I would say it's probably my least favorite of the 3, but I would rather have a least favorite of the Paranormal Activities than a favorite of like the Saw films. I think it really worked for what they were trying to do. And out of 10, I'd probably say I'd give it a 7.
Okay. I was pleasantly surprised. I think I have a growing appreciation for these movies the more I've seen them. I really like the first one. I really like the second one. I really like this one. I think it's probably because I've grown up on so much horror and violence and gore and everything else. So I've got a great appreciation for all variety of horror films. And the fact that this one can come out and really not have any blood or guts or anything graphic or ridiculous and can still scare you, right? I go to see these movies. These are the only kind of movies I've seen in the last few years that have made me jump at all. I mean, I go see Saw, and all that does is make me want to not eat and go home. Really. I mean, honestly, there's no story. There's no plot. I don't care about any of it. Now, the first Paranormal Activity, I kind of cared about the story. It was more like just waiting to see what happened. The second one, I really was interested in the actual story. I thought the story was kind of interesting. This one, I really like the story. I kind of like that they were, even though I know that they made this shit up long after the first movie came out, because they had no idea this thing was going to be popular. But it seems like they're really trying to weave in a mythology to the first films. And I'm kind of impressed the way that they've done it, because I think it's very hard to tell a narrative and any kind of mythology with what they're working with. I mean, they're working with basically, okay, we've got cameras just set up that are catching activity, and we're trying to tell a story. I think that's a lot harder to do well than it sounds like. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like a scripted film. It's a lot harder to keep people engaged, because you realize that they're going to go to the theater and they're just going to be watching video all for an hour and a half. Now, granted, yes, it is a movie and it is a screenplay and everything else, and they have it all worked out, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like you're just watching somebody's home video footage. I love that aspect of it. I love seeing it in a theater with a crowd of people, and you might miss something, but you hear everybody else going, "Oh my God," because that happens to me in every one of these movies. And then you have to look around till you figure out what the hell is going on. Like the scene with the sheet, which I don't want to give anything away, but the scene with the sheet, I didn't notice it when the camera first swings around.
Yeah. I was like, oh, shit!
See, you're one of the people that tipped me off. And that, to me, is part of the fun, because this is one of those experiences where I think these movies, you go to the theater and you feel like you're seeing it with 200 people. I'm not just going to the theater and seeing another movie I want to see, because I do that, every week. I'm actually going and seeing a movie with like 100 or 200 people, and we're all there together. It's kind of how these movies feel.
Big old communal activity.
Yeah, a little bit. Without
that's a suckier title.
With less chance of STDs. And it's fun. Fun. I really like the way that they, in this film specifically, amped up how quick everything happens. Like, I don't think the first film took forever before anything really happened. It was probably a good 30, 40 minutes before really anything significant happened. Second one is a little faster. This one, it was probably 10 minutes in, and you already have something going on?
Yeah, but I part of me feels like that was almost to its detriment. I think that with the first film especially, that really slow build, for me, created a much more heightened sense of terror, because it was so incremental. And then the second one, not quite as much. And the third one, yeah, like you said, it starts happening kind of early on. And I think that for me, it builds up to a high too fast. Maybe I like things a little more gradual. But it was really good. My favorite character was his friend, the guy who was like, I guess his filming partner.
Was it Randy? Was that his name?
Yeah. I mean, especially his scare moment in the movie was really well done. My only real big complaint with the film, though, is the fact that so many things you see in the trailers are not in the movie. And I was actually shocked by how many things were in the trailer and that did not end up being in the end film.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I thought that was kind of clever because, and this isn't really a spoiler.
It's clever, but I feel like I'm being set up for something that I'm not getting. I mean, granted, I like that I'm being surprised by the things that they put in its place or that they recut. But there's also another part of me that feels like, all right, you're not showing me things here that you did show me here. Why is it not here? So I don't know.
Here's what I think on that. Because when I walked out, I think at first I was kind of irritated, right? Because you go in and it's not ruining anything because it's not actually in the movie. So I can't really spoil anything if it didn't have it in the movie. But in one of the trailers, it has the girls in the mirror doing the Bloody Mary thing.
The first trailer.
Yeah, the very first trailer. The two girls are in the mirror doing Bloody Mary. Turn the mirror off, turn the light on. Boom, there's a shadow. Whoa, you're all scared and shit. In the movie, that never happens. You will not see that in the movie. So I'm not spoiling anything. In fact, I'm probably helping you. But it's not in there. And at first when I walked out, I was kind of pissed off. Because I'm like, well, I was waiting for that one scene because that looked kind of cool. But then I realized that they still do the Bloody Mary thing. They just do it a little different. And you are completely surprised by how it pans out. And actually, it's probably one of the scariest movies in the movie. So after probably 20 minutes or half an hour, and I started thinking about it, I was really kind of happy because this is the first time in a long time I've seen a movie that was really threw me off. Like nothing I had seen was actually in the movie. None of the trailers I had seen actually happened. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's wrong, or maybe they should sue over it. Find that lady that's suing Drive or whatever, and sue over it. But I thought it was kind of cool to go in and see a movie fresh. I haven't seen a movie without knowing something about it in a long time, and that worked for me. So for me personally, and I don't want to spend the whole podcast talking about Paranormal Activity 3, but I really liked it. I'd give it 8.5 out of 10. Easy.
And it earned $52.5 million.
Yes, and then
so a lot of people more than us liked it.
Nice segue into box office real quick. So Justin thought it was a 7 out of 10. I thought it was 8.5 out of 10. Take that for what you will. But box office wise, it made $52.5 million for opening weekend. That's the largest horror movie ever, and it's the largest October opening ever. So a lot of people want some Paranormal Activity action. And the best part was the budget, $5 million.
Oh yeah, it's all gravy from probably from the first showing on.
Yeah, they're probably just sitting in a room going, so when do we start shopping? When can we wrap this up? We're good. Brian, did you want to see that? Are you going to see that? You and the wife going to go see it?
Yeah, I want to go see it. I mean, I've seen the first two. My wife says she's seen the first one. I don't think she has, but I know she hasn't seen the second one. So we may have to do a little mini marathon before we go see it. But yeah, definitely want to go check that out. They're fun. I mean, they're fun movies.
You can see this one and never have seen the second one. It won't change anything.
Okay.
Or it won't affect your viewing of the second one. I don't really think it at all. I mean, what do you think?
No, not really.
Aaron?
I don't even think you really have to see the first two movies. But you can. I think the mythology's there if you want it. But if you don't want it, it doesn't matter. You can still see it.
You see in the very opening of the movie, you see just a tiny little bit of the characters from Paranormal 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Where they kind of set up the premise of these videotapes existing, having been filmed in 88. But then from there on, it's all 1988 stuff. So you could probably have skipped the second one and be just fine.
Yeah, and Katie somehow, even though it takes place around the time of the first one, she's thinner. I don't know how that happened, but it's a magic diet.
Yes.
She looks fabulous.
Oh, Katie Featherstone?
Yeah.
God, yes, she does.
She looks fantastic. Real Steel and Footloose are actually doing really well. They're both holding on tight. 10 million apiece. Three Musketeers. Apparently, not enough people follow Milla Jovovich because it made 8.6 million. Nothing. Three Musketeers. It bomb. Bomb. I guess, Brian, you wanted to see it. Maybe you should have.
Yeah, apparently I should have went many, many times over.
There's not going to be a Four Musketeers. I promise you that. The other bomb was Johnny English Reborn. That opened to
Thank God.
$3.8 million.
Move on.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, the movies that we talked about from last week's show, episode 12, that come out October 28th, should probably be out when you're listening to this. Rum Diary, 67% positive. In Time does not have any reviews yet, so that's not always good, but it's not always bad. Puss in Boots is at 79% positive.
Who's in that movie?
Antonio Banderas.
Okay.
And Anonymous, which the one I was most looking forward to, is only at 54% positive, and for that kind of movie, that's not good at all. So with that, if you want to know more about those movies, please listen to episode 12 from last week, where we talked about them ad nauseum. The movies that are coming out November 4th, those are what we're going to talk about right now. The first one is a Very Harold and Kumar Christmas in 3D. And this is the plot. I couldn't make this up if I tried. They've parted as friends, but a mysterious package meant for Harold gets mistakenly sent to Kumar. His attempts to redirect it lead to Harold's father-in-law's tree going up in smoke and eventually almost lead to Christmas being taken out. All of it happens in 3D. Anybody want to see it? Cricket?
No. Not...
The trailer looks fucking hysterical. I'm just not sure if an hour and a half of that, if I can handle it.
Yeah, that's that.
Neil Patrick Harris looks funny.
Pretty much a good way of summing it up there. And it is for me. It's just too early to be watching Christmas movies.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Why do they have them out the first weekend in November? I mean, I realize they're trying to capitalize, but
Why the fuck can't I go into a store now without being assaulted by Christmas trees?
that's true. As soon as the Halloween shit goes away.
No, it's not even... Halloween ain't over. I've been going into stores for 2 weeks now, seeing Christmas trees.
They have Christmas stuff up already?
Yes, for fuck's sake, it's 3 months out.
Holy crap! We gotta start doing Christmas episodes.
Jeez, yeah, we do. We need to jump on that. You can't even. Thanksgiving is the redheaded stepchild.
Brian asked me when we were doing a Thanksgiving patriotic episode. We should be doing it because it's still October. Touche. So Harold and Kumar are not really rocking anybody's boat right now.
Yeah.
Tower Heist is the next one. Ben Stiller, Eddie Murphy, Matthew Broderick, and a ton of other people are in the Brett Ratner directed flick. Brett Ratner is that somewhat...
The guy who ruined X-Men 3?
Yeah, he did X-Men 3 and Rush Hour movies, so you know how talented he is right there.
I actually like the first Rush Hour.
I like the first two.
First two were good, yeah.
Yeah, first two. I just didn't like the third one because Chris Tucker looked like he just woke up the whole movie. Brett Ratner flick about working stiffs who decide to rob Alan Alda after his scheme to steal all the retirement money worked, and he's sitting on a cash flow of all the retirement, so they decide to rob him and get it back. Trailer actually
should
looks
rename this Occupy Tower.
That would make it timely. What do you guys think? Is this something you want to see?
Not at all.
Really?
It looks bad. I'm sorry.
I think it looks funny.
I think it looks kind of funny. It looks like Eddie Murphy's kind of trying to be funny again.
The studio, though, has no faith in this movie. Hell, didn't they try and put it off on video on demand or something? Direct to video or whatever?
I don't know about that.
A couple weeks ago?
Did they really?
My understanding was that they had looked into just sending it straight to video on demand services or something. And for whatever reason, they didn't. But it looks funny. It looks like Eddie Murphy back to his, trading places kind of character, which is good for him because I'm really sick of... I think, Brian, didn't you say last week or somebody, I'm tired of seeing him put on fat suits and fart?
Basically. Yeah.
That's true. Well, I'm kind of interested in that one just because I like Ben Stiller and I used to like Eddie Murphy.
I'm trying to think of what he's really done lately that's been really good.
The last good one I can think of was Tropic Thunder.
Oh God, that's fucking funny.
He's almost going the way of Adam Sandler.
Yeah, he's kind of but this one it looks like he's trying to be a little bit more serious and less ridiculous. So I don't know. I mean, it's a Brett Ratner movie and it's Eddie Murphy. I mean, there's 2 strikes against it before you even start filming. Because at some point you're just afraid some little kid's going to come up or an animal's going to start talking to people, and I don't know, or he's going to blow the ending because that's what happened in X-Men 3. Yeah,
at least Ben Stiller's not playing his twin sister. God, fuck.
We'll get to that one when that comes up.
No, let's just not. Let's all shit on that now. And
killing.
I just think that movie. I think Tower Heist is basically going to end up like what is it? The Big Year with.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I see. That's what I envision it happening. Happening. But that's my prediction.
2 million opening and then it disappears.
I think it's going to be a pretty big family movie, actually. I think a bunch of families are going to go see it because it's PG-13. Killing Bono is coming out. It's a rock and roll comedy about Irish brothers, and they're not the Boondock Saints, trying to forge their way through the 80s music scene while U2 takes off and casts these guys in the shadow. No desire at all, but I'm not a U2 fan.
I thought it was a documentary on Chaz Bono's rise to success in Dancing with the Stars.
I'd go see that. I actually thought he's kind of interesting. Do you guys want to see either one of you give a shit?
It looks like a good video movie. Cable video, something like that. But
okay,
no interest.
Fair enough. This is really a bad weekend for anything exciting us. Let me tell you. Because right now, everybody's listening going, well, apparently movies suck. These guys don't like anything.
No, they should go see Paranormal Activity and they should go see Real Steel.
There you go.
Because both those films are good.
There's one more. Hang on. There's 4 movies that's coming this week. The last one is The Son of No One, which is what this movie should have been. Channing Tatum, I don't know how this kid still fucking acts, but he's a young cop in a working class neighborhood who stumbles across an old secret that could tear his job and family apart. And it's got Al Pacino, Ray Liotta, Katie Holmes. I've seen this movie 45 million fucking times.
Yeah. How's this guy keep getting jobs?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those that you pick up at Walmart for like $8 on sale.
Yep.
And that's being generous.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I love so many of these actors though. I mean, it's like Ray Liotta and Al Pacino.
Yeah, but isn't it like the movie they've made 100 times? Like,
No, I know it. And then you throw in, Tracy Morgan. It's like that medieval movie with Burt Reynolds as a king. I mean, it's just
Name of the King or something.
yeah.
Dungeon Siege.
A Dungeon Siege movie. Dale.
Oh my God. It's like, okay, I mean, it's like one of those things. Okay, which one of these doesn't fit? Channing Tatum, Katie Holmes, Ray Liotta, Al Pacino, Tracy fucking Morgan.
One of these things is not like
And I mean, Tracy Morgan is hilarious. I love him, but this just...
Yeah, and he looks all stoic and serious too. Like
I can't even... if he may give the acting, performance of the century, and it just won't matter to me because I'm going to be sitting there the whole time waiting for him to make a joke. It's like going back watching a Leslie Nielsen movie before he did Airplane.
Yeah, that's true. I see what you're saying.
You're waiting for him to crack a joke, and he's funny even when he's not being funny because he's Leslie Nielsen.
It's like watching Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and just waiting for Jim Carrey to make a rubber face.
Right.
Really?
It's going to come. Exactly. Let me ask you a few questions.
Asshole mio.
Well, out of those four, A Very Harold and Kumar Christmas, Tower Heist, Killing Bono, and The Son of No One, what would be your guys' pick of the week? Brian, go first.
I hate probably The Son of No One just because of the 5 out of the 6 actors in that movie I like. So
Justin?
I'd probably go Tower Heist.
Out of those, I want Tower Heist because none of the other ones look good at all.
Yeah, but Harold and Kumar out of those 4, that'll bring in the most money.
Maybe if I got good and stoned.
You are pretty
Not
close
that
to the
I'm
border.
condoning such activity, but I am.
I might start just to go see it.
I might start just so I can enjoy the 3D.
Right.
Look, the weed's coming at me, man. Okay, well, that's it for movie news and what's going on the big screen. We're going to turn it and go into TV. We kind of separated things a little bit just to make it easier for you to understand what the hell we're talking about. So we put TV in its own little category. This week, we're going to hit some of the TV news, a couple quick things that are happening in the world of television. The first thing is The Punisher is apparently heading to television. What do you guys think? Are you excited about that?
Do we know what channel it's going to be on?
The Marvel channel. I don't know. It's
Because it all depends on what channel it goes on. If they're going to try and put The Punisher on ABC or NBC or whatever, it's not going to work. What makes the Punisher is that he punishes people in bloody, gruesome, violent ways. So FX, great. AMC, fantastic.
Well,
ABC, not
Fox,
a fucking chance.
Fox is developing it, so it may end up on FX.
That would be great.
That would be. It's got to be at least FX, if not HBO or something like that. But
yeah, if it goes on network TV, nobody's going to want to see it because it'll be boring.
It's like Playboy Club. Who the fuck wants to watch Playboy Club on network? Nobody.
I swear you plug that every episode. You're like, why did they make Playboy Club with no boobs?
No,
I'll tell you what. Whoever sold the studio on Playboy Club, I want him negotiating my next pay raise.
But The Punisher, I think it's a premise easily done in television. I mean, fuck, they do it every month in a comic book, so there's no reason why they couldn't do it, as a television show. I think it worked great. Get the right guy playing the Punisher, put on the right channel. I'll watch. Yeah,
I mean, to me, this is probably one of the very few comic book characters that probably would do better on TV versus the big screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or hell, put it on Spike. I mean, I hate that Spike canceled that Blade television show that they did, because that show was actually really good, but they killed it, pardon the pun, before it really had a chance to find its footing. But Spike would be a decent place for it too.
I don't know about the Spike thing, because do they have any other television shows on there besides that short-lived Blade one?
I don't know. Well, but then again, AMC had nothing until they put
That's
Mad
true.
Men on. So
That's true.
all it takes is one show to really establish it. But FX would be a great home for a Punisher show.
I would watch it on FX. I would definitely would. Maybe get Dennis Leary to star.
What?
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 On FX, it was a joke.
Oh,
I didn't say it was funny, but it was a joke.
that was a joke.
It's a bad one.
You're a joke.
You're a joke. Your mom's a joke. Steel Magnolias is going to be remade. Yay, on Lifetime. I'm just sharing this because people want us to be more feminine on some things. So, congratulations. Steel Magnolia is going to be remade with an all-black cast because for some reason that was necessary. I don't know. I mean, I'm not knocking it because of because it's going to be an all-black cast. It's just a matter of why remake it and why does it have to be an all-black cast? I don't quite understand.
Yeah. I mean, what is it? Is Tyler Perry doing this?
No, he's not. It's just
Because I mean, I don't know if black people can work in Hollywood unless they go through Tyler Perry. I mean, he's got he does every. I mean, the guy's. I mean, he's a genius because he's worth about $80 gazillion.
Well, he's making that money though because he is appealing to a market that so many other people have completely ignored.
I agree with that.
And while what he creates may not be to my liking because it's not aimed at me.
Right.
I think that a Steel Magnolias on Lifetime, fine idea. Make it with an all-black cast, fine idea. If it's going to give a segment of the movie-watching public that maybe is underserved a little more service, I'm perfectly fine with that. So I've got no axe to grind on this one.
I got no axe to grind. It's curious to me. It's almost, I don't know. I just don't see the point of it. Why? I guess I see your point. You have a good argument that if they're feeling underserved, why can't they just make a new movie? Why do you have to remake something that's already done with a bunch of old crazy white ladies and remake it with a?
Because the head of Lifetime channel is apparently this is like a lifelong thing that she's wanted to do.
Really?
Yeah, and that's basically the only reason. I don't care about that. To me, the black cast it kind of appeals to me in a little bit. I mean, it's to me it's because I look at it like the Death at a Funeral movie where you got the British version where it's basically all white people, and then you got the American version which is basically all black people, and they're just as good. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's the exact same movie. And to me, I would, of course, I'm sure they would have to make certain changes for this other one, but the thing that scares me off is it's Lifetime. Lifetime makes horrible movies.
Yes, they do.
Horrible movies.
They do. And somebody always ends up sad and dead at the end.
Yeah, I mean, there's it's the official man-hater channel.
It is. Do you know your boyfriend? Yeah, he either sleeps with everyone you know or he beats you. Those are your two options. You never get a sweet guy.
Right.
And if he is sweet, he's probably going to beat you and then sleep with your best friend.
Exactly. Because he's like on his third identity. He's really wanted in about 8 states. He's already killed 3 other wives, and you're the last one. You're unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, the fourth one is the smartest one who finally figures it out or something.
So it's going to be like the Black Dolly Parton's going to shoot somebody. That's what's going to happen. Now I kind of want to see it.
I watch a Lifetime show.
Do you? What show is that?
Project Runway.
Really? Is that Lifetime now?
Yeah, it used to be Bravo, but Lifetime has it.
I'm sure my wife knows that.
Wow.
My wife and I have been watching it for years.
Now, do you watch that, or do you watch it because your wife wants to watch it?
I watched it originally only because she was watching it, but there have been so many shows that I watched because of her that some of them I now watch by myself because she has stopped watching them.
Well, now I know why you know about the Wachowskis. Sorry.
I like Project Runway. What can I say? It appeals to the artist in me. And these people make clothes, but what they're doing is they're artists. And watching their process, I find interesting. So
hey, I started watching Dancing with the Stars because I felt I was legally required to, and I actually like it now. So
I will not watch that show.
That's actually not too bad. It's kind of some parts of it are funny, and plus, I learned how to 2-step. That's important in life. You never know when that's going to pop up. Okay.
Anyway,
Brian Grazer was doing an interview, and he claimed that the Dark Tower TV series is going to air on HBO. Now, if that's true, I haven't seen anything official, but if that's true, I think that's awesome news for fans of The Dark Tower. Justin, you are a fan of The Dark Tower. Does that make you happy?
Oh, fuck yes. If they can do for The Dark Tower what they're doing for Game of Thrones, I will be ecstatic as all fuck. Because for me, The Dark Tower is my Game of Thrones. It's the series that I am the most passionate about. And the thought of that show trying to be done on a channel other than a cable channel just scared the hell out of me. I don't know why they keep talking about movies, though. Because they're talking about doing a TV show and then films. What the fuck do you need films for? Just keep it simple. Do 1 season per book. 8 seasons, you're done. Because he is about to come out with an 8th book in the series. So 8 seasons, that's a lot of fucking television, and I will be there. I would buy HBO for this show.
Wow. Brian, you're a King fan too. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, you have to do it right. And you have to, like, say, the Game of Thrones, format is probably the way to do it. So, yeah, man, just it's bring it on. I'd love to see that, but it's
or what's already been brought.
Sorry, but you just gotta do it right. You can't be handcuffed or constricted by network TV rules and regulations, though.
I'm looking forward to it. I never have read all of the books. But everybody I know that has loves it. So I would kind of like to see a TV series based on it if they can do it and do it right. Quick mention, not really anything to talk about, but it's one of my favorite shows. And they're doing a vampire-themed episode tonight on Psych, which, it's already going to air by the time you listen to this, but you can find it in repeats. They'll air it 15 times over the course of the next week. The reason I'm mentioning it is because Christy Swanson, who's the original Buffy, and Corey Feldman, who obviously from The Lost Boys and also whatever else Corey Haim was part of, both make an appearance in the show. And it's written and directed by James Roday, who's the star, and anything he writes and directs is fucking hilarious. So, highly recommend it. That's all I wanted to say. Neither one of you guys watch it, do you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
God damn it. They do it. Justin, they did a Twin Peaks episode last year that was genius.
I'll try and catch up on it.
Whatever. I sent you a fucking link. You never even said anything about it. You're like, I'm not going to watch your stupid little show. Walking Dead has been renewed already for a 3rd season. That's the last piece of news, which I think probably makes all of us happy. We're all fans of the show. What do you guys think of it so far? That'll kind of lead us into what TV we've been watching, but we saw the premiere. We talked about that a little bit. Now the 2nd episode aired, and it was kind of, I felt, yet another little filler episode. I'm kind of wish the story would start moving. Yeah,
I wish it would kind of pick up. I really like the first episode this season. Like I said before, It was, there were some parts that were really intense, and and this kind of, I haven't finished this latest episode. I'm only about halfway through it, but you're right. The first half so far just kind of feels like it's just, you're just killing time. You're just like, all right, here's a little bit more story, but they could have moved it along a little quicker, it seems like. But I love it, so whatever. I'm sticking around for a while.
Georgia fanboy.
Is there anything else been on TV caught you guys' eye? I haven't really watched much this week.
Homeland on Showtime is awesome.
Is it? That was one you were excited for. Is that worth everything?
Yes, it is definitely one of the best dramas on TV right now.
I actually read right before we started recording that they just got renewed for a 2nd season already.
Well, they should, because it's it's one of those where it's just the hour goes by before you even realize it.
This is the one where Claire Danes is the CIA agent who thinks that the guy that came back from somewhere is basically a sleeper cell. Is that
right? He's a Marine sergeant who went missing, presumed killed in action, and during a raid, this special forces team finds him, in captivity, and brings him home 8 years later. So, part of the drama is his personal relationship with his family, which is pretty intense, and you're starting to find out more information and stuff about Claire Danes, and she's really kind of fucked up in the head, and so, which is bad if you're a CIA agent. So,
but the best part of the show, Justin, you'll appreciate this, is Marina Baccarin is in it. Did you know that, Justin?
Yeah, weren't you saying she's like naked, like all
she
the time?
is butt naked. Sorry, go ahead, Brian. That was my favorite part of everything.
There is that. And I think the guy that plays the Marine,
Damian Harris.
Yeah, I think he's pretty much perfect for this role because he's just got a creepy look about him.
He is creepy looking.
Yeah, he does kind of look creepy.
I mean, to me, whatever else he does, to me, he's that guy from Dreamcatcher.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So, but it's just really good. It's well written, and I can't recommend it enough.
And that's
so
on Showtime.
If you get a chance somehow, definitely check it out.
That's on Showtime.
Yeah, Showtime.
Anything from you, Justin, that you caught?
Yeah, I mean, real quick on Walking Dead. I finally watched the first episode. I haven't seen the second one yet. It does feel like it's spinning its wheels a little bit. Mm-hmm. After that first season, I was really hoping the second one would start off strong and really just start giving some really good story development, character development. I got excited at first when the black character cut his arm really bad and blood just squirting out of it, because I thought, all right, they're gonna kill a character off. They're going to establish all of these characters can die at any moment. There are stakes involved, so be ready for anything. Well, of course, belt tourniquet. Next thing you know, he seems to be, all right after, which would look like it should have been
he lost about 4 gallons of blood.
Yeah, a mortal wound, and suddenly he's okay.
They can smell, but apparently not in traffic, by the way.
Right. They need to establish what this season is about, and so far I really don't feel like they've done that. Moving on.
Yeah.
No, the only show the new show that I watched this week was Once Upon a Time.
What did you think? Because I haven't watched it yet.
It's okay. I want it to be better than it is. And what it really makes me do is wish that Fables had become a TV show.
Oh, I remember.
Because I think the premise of fairy tale characters in a modern world setting is done much more interesting in Fables. Because the whole idea of Once Upon a Time is that all these characters from all of the fairy tales that we know exist in our world, but they're all in one little town, and none of them, but seemingly the evil queen, knows who they are and what happened. They're all oblivious to their previous life as fairy tales, and they're just living in this small little town called Storybrooke, which, I see what you did there. But some of the characters I find compelling. I really like Emma Swan, who is the lead character of the show, and not just because she is stunningly hot. I like some of the things they're doing with it. I don't care for some of the others. They are two of the people who created the show also wrote for Lost. Mm-hmm. You can tell that because there is this whole backstory of what happened in the fairy tale world. They're going to be telling those stories in conjunction with what's happening now in the modern world. So it's going to have that flashback feel to it that Lost had, which I'll have to see how well they can do that. But there was one shot in particular that if you're a Lost fan, as soon as you saw it, you're like, oh yeah, these guys work for Lost. And when you watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. I wished it was better, but I'm so kind of starved for genre television that it has enough of my attention that I'll keep watching it, where something like Falling Skies pilot episode sucked so bad I never went back to it. Mm-hmm. So I'll keep watching it. I'm kind of curious though how Grimm is going to work out.
Well, that would be one we'll talk about next week, because that airs Friday. I think it's this week.
Well, maybe.
Why maybe?
Because tonight tonight the Game 6 of the World Series was postponed.
What?
Due to weather. So there's talk that Fringe and couple other shows, but they're talking about Game 7 may interrupt the Grimm show.
Oh, wow. Well, that sucks.
Yeah. Woot, go Rangers!
Well, then I'll wait. We'll wait one more week, but we'll see what happens.
It's not official yet, but that's what's going on today as of right now.
Okay. Well, thankfully we're not CNN, so by the time people listen to this, the series might be on the next year. Who knows?
Stump the HO.
We're going to do our Stump the HO question. This week it's my turn. So how Stump the HO works is basically a trivia game that we use every week to get us through a break. I'll ask a question, try to stump our hoes, which means the Hollywood Outsider podcasters, not actual prostitutes. And then we will come back after a short trailer break and give you the actual answer. So this week, are you guys ready? Dun, dun,
Yep.
dun, dun. My question is, and I'll do multiple choice because I feel like that works the best. What was Pixar's first PG-rated film distributed in the U.S.? Again, that was what was Pixar's first PG-rated film distributed in the U.S. Was it A, Toy Story 3, B, Monsters, Inc., C, The Incredibles, or D, Wall-E? Did I do that good enough?
Mm-hmm.
Justin.
I'll go with Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3? Brian?
I want to say that too, just because it sounds impossible that since it's 3. Yeah, I'll go with that too. That's what my gut's saying.
Your gut, both of your guts are saying Toy Story 3?
Yep.
Okay. And the answer when we come back. Right now you're gonna hear the trailer for Sherlock Holmes, The Game of Shadows. We'll be right back.
What do you see?
Everything. That is my curse.
Oh, how I've missed you, Holmes.
Have you?
I barely noticed your absence.
I'm knee-deep in the single most important case of my career.
What are we up against here?
The most formidable criminal mind in Europe.
Professor James Moriarty.
If we can stop him, we should prevent the collapse of Western civilization. No pressure.
Who are you two?
Concerned citizens.
Mr. Holmes? I have a feeling you're in danger.
Are you sure you want to play this game?
I'm afraid you would lose.
Oh, dear.
What? I agree, it's not my best disguise. You know my methods.
Shall we get to work? Your clock is ticking.
Do trust me.
No!
Did you just kill my wife?
I timed it perfectly!
Just follow my lead.
Make it count!
I'd say that counts. You do seem
Excited?
manic.
I am.
Verging on
Ecstatic. Psychotic.
I should have brought you a sedative.
And that was Sherlock Holmes' Game of Shadows. So see that when it comes out this Christmas season. We are going to go answer our Stump the Ho question. And the question was, I won't read in that fun voice anymore. What was Pixar's first PG-rated film that was distributed in the U.S.? And the options were Toy Story 3, Monsters, Inc., The Incredibles, or Wall-E. And Justin and Brian both chose Toy Story 3. The answer was...
No whammies, no whammies.
The Incredibles. Fuck. Oh, you incredibly got it wrong.
And that's my favorite Pixar picture, too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow, well, shame on you. You should read what... Well, I mean, how many adults really pay attention to what's rated if you don't have kids?
There's only one Pixar film that I really don't care for.
Bug's Life, right?
Yes.
I remember you mentioning that. With that said, that is our Stump the HO. If you'd like to suggest a question or a topic for From the Outside In, which we're going to get to in just a second, be sure to email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. That's feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. With that, we are going to go into From the Outside In. That is where every week we talk about a topic or something that's on our minds and in terms of movie or TV world. This week, it's another reader suggestion, and it's from a Sean McGuire, not the Sean from last week. It's a different Sean. This one's not Asian.
Apparently, the only people that listen to this damn thing are named Sean.
Yep, we have a stranglehold on the Sean market. His email, what he suggested was, I have been thinking for a while about movies that either need more movies made or never got the sequels they should have for whatever reason. Funding, lack of ticket sales, etc. I find it sad because some movies are misses in the box office but do well years later on, DVD and TV wise, cult classics, etc. For me personally, I think a few additional Back to the Future movies are needed. I know Ghostbusters has been tossed around. What else could you throw out there? Or maybe good reboot candidates as well? That also leads to an even better question. Are some movies too iconic to reboot? For me personally, I will be sad to see Batman come to an end. What do you guys think? Who wants to go first? What franchises could you see that maybe either died or ended badly?
For the pre-show chat, Brian sounded like he had a lot to say, so I'll let him go.
Yeah.
You know, the first couple movies that I thought about, you know, they're mainly kind of sci-fi or action stuff. But then I got to thinking, well, you know, what is something else? You know, the Black Hole, I would love to see redone.
The Disney one?
Yes.
Okay.
I think
the
that could be.
Maximilian robot was scary.
Well, he was, you know, and with the goofy little robot that was, you know, you really kind of drew he was like the funny balance to the scary, you know, big red robot.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to see that redone. And you know, but like The Last Starfighter, I think could be redone.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You know,
or even sequels.
Right.
I mean, the Kodan Armada, you still got to keep fighting them.
Jeez.
You know, Gremlins, I think they can do that maybe a little bit darker. It got a little too campy with the second one.
I thought about Gremlins too. I think that would be a good one to jump on.
And I don't want to steal. I'm scared that you actually, Aaron, have probably picked this one, but Big Trouble in Little China.
I have not, but I did pick another John Carpenter, Kurt Russell one, but I'll get to that in a second. You'd like to see it rebooted or a sequel?
Probably both.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Kurt Russell owns that role, but I don't know who I would get to replace him, and I think he's probably a bit too old to play it.
Fuck you. Kurt Russell is never too old. Don't you ever say that again. You shut your whore mouth.
But, you know, Highlander, I think they could probably reboot that.
I disagree. There can only be one. Sorry.
I love the first one, and the other movies were all pretty much, you know, trash. But gosh, what else? Dune.
Dune?
The old sci-fi.
You'd like to see that redone?
I would like to see it done better.
The TV movie didn't suit you?
No. I actually never saw the TV movie.
I did. It was horrible. I didn't like it.
I thought it was pretty good. Children in Dune wasn't all that great, but I thought Dune was actually all right.
I just couldn't get into it, but I didn't like the original movie either. So maybe it's the story I couldn't get into.
Yeah.
Some other ones that I would like to see a sequel to would be Zombieland. I'm still waiting for a fucking sequel to that one. I don't know why.
Yeah, but they're going to be doing that on TV now.
I thought they were making it. They were already making it.
They're talking about it, but that's only because Walking Dead did well. But I want to see the actual movie sequel. I want to see Woody Harrelson on a fucking roller coaster again, kicking some more ass.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out, I think, 2013.
No, they haven't officially announced a sequel yet. Not a film sequel. I checked. Okay. I promise you. They've talked about it. I saw Jesse Eisenberg in person, and we asked him that, and he said, nope, as of right now, we're still on hold. He's never been approached about a sequel, and he's pretty much booked for the next year. So I hope I'm wrong and you're right.
I don't have those kinds of connections.
Oh, I wouldn't call it a connection. It was more of I was present at a Q&A. That doesn't make me connected. Mr. Brooks is one I'd really like to see a sequel to. I think that was kind of an unsung little thriller flick that I think would have been interesting to see where they take on the story. I mean, I think Dexter's kind of the same, pretty much the same story, but X-Files. I'd like to see X-Files 2012. So if they could hurry up and fucking get on that would be sweet.
Alien Invasion.
And you know what one I think I was really hoping would be like a franchise? Would be Grindhouse.
Yeah.
I would love to see Grindhouse. Not Tarantino or Rodriguez doing more movies. I would like to see other filmmakers picking up the reins from that and churning out a couple more. I think that would have been fantastic. And I think it probably would have happened if it would have been even remotely successful. But Justin, what about you? Is there anything that trips your trigger? I'm going to save the one I want most for last, but
I definitely don't want any more Back to the Futures.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't want to say that any movie is too iconic to not be remade. I think it was in our very first episode, might have been, or early on, where I said that even Casablanca, if you had the right cast and crew, I could see being remade. So nothing is out of the realm of possibility, but Back to the Future is such a film of its time that I don't know if you could do it in a 2010 and over setting, and it's still having the same ability to tell the same sort of story. I mean, because what you had with the 80s is you had this confluence of an interesting generation of people discovering a broad world in the 80s, and suddenly he's thrust back into the 50s or the 60s.
50s.
And which was such a more insular time because they didn't have the worldwide media. They didn't have computers, which were, and even in the 80s, were just starting to broaden the world a bit. It was a real two different types of societies. If you did it now, and say your character is going from 2012 back to the 80s, there's not that huge of a cultural change. So I don't think it would be as interesting. And I'm sorry, Michael J. Fox did such a great job with that character. What's happened with his health and whatnot since then, I don't want to see somebody redo his type of role. I think he did it just fine. So that kind of movie just doesn't interest me because what they did was so part and parcel of the 80s. I don't think it would translate well now. Mm-hmm. One movie that jumped to mind that I really wished had done better, nobody but me, I think, actually liked it. And it's a movie that came out several years ago called Reign of Fire.
Yes.
It had Matthew McConaughey and Gerald Butler, Aaron, fighting fucking dragons in London in a post-apocalyptic setting. I loved that fucking movie. It was a little silly, at times a touch campy, but it was balls to the wall, and it knew what it was and owned it.
And McConaughey was awesome in that movie.
McConaughey was a fucking beast in that movie, and if I'd had his body, I would have those tattoos. Because those dragons tattoos wrapping around his arms and coming across his pecs and that bald head and that big fucking beard killed that film. I would love to see, even though, spoiler alert, he wouldn't be in the sequel, I would still love to see what they did with it, especially with as big a star as Gerard Butler has become. I wish that film had done a lot better because I would love to see another one done. Brian, you mentioned Highlander.
Yeah.
That's one of those films that I think it was the first time that I saw a sequel and just thought, what the fuck did they do to this movie, because you get this first film and it is so fantastical. Granted, it takes place in our world, but it's about immortal beings swinging swords and cutting each other's heads off and getting, more and more powerful as they go along. That's fucking fantastic. And then you want to put this shitty sci-fi spin on it, ruining and just pissing on the original film. Terrible sequel.
Yeah,
one of the worst ever.
It was horrible. All of them. There's like 14 of them.
They're all terrible. The shows I didn't care for either, but I would love to see the original remade. I think it's a great premise. I think that modern special effects could take that film into the stratosphere, and with the sorts of sword fighting and martial arts that we're used to now do kind of date that film a little bit. I would love to see them redo that film. I never thought of it, but I love that mention.
I think we're on different minds. I was more focused on, obviously we can talk about either one, but you guys are more focused on rebooting franchises you love. I was more looking for me personally, looking at continuations of series that I love. Like Escape from New York was the one I was thinking of, Brian. I really wanted John Carpenter, not a John Carpenter directed, because I think his directing skills are done. Since Vampires, I think, was the last one I really liked of his.
I caught a few minutes the other day, and I watched it. It's almost like picking a scab. It hurts, but you keep doing it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But a little bit of the Los Angeles one.
Yeah. And
I caught the wonderfully special effects of the surfing scene.
Oh God! I remember seeing it.
That movie.
What's that? What did you say?
I said Bruce Campbell couldn't save that movie.
No, and I was so disappointed. That surfing scene, anybody that hasn't seen it,
it's one of the worst.
It's one of the worst. This movie had a $50 million budget, and this is what, the end of the 90s? 94, somewhere in the 90s.
Mid-90s, late 90s maybe. But
they finally made a sequel to Escape from New York. Escape from New York is probably my favorite Kurt Russell movie of all time. I love Escape from New York, and it's the character he made. It's not just the movie, because the movie is very dated now. But they finally got the money to make a sequel, and they gave him $50 million fucking dollars. And I don't know if John Carpenter snorted all of it, or if he used it all to buy hookers. I don't know what happened, but the movie looks like it was made in 1981, right next to the original. And Kurt Russell still didn't get paid because the fucking effects were pathetic. For $50 million, that would be like a $150 million movie nowadays. I mean, it just blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Tell you what, though, one Carpenter film that I would love to see either redone or a sequel made to it is Prince of Darkness.
That's a cool movie. Yeah.
Because that movie ended on such a dark note. If they were to do a sequel, think about it, a sequel about this film being in a world ruled by Satan. That'd be a dark film and an interesting film. But even if they were to reboot it, I think they could reboot it and make it as good or better. And I love Prince of Darkness. I thought it was a really fun pairing of science and religion and making a horror movie out of it. Quite good.
They Live. That's another John Carpenter one. Because Roddy Piper, he's free. He can do a sequel.
Came here to chew bubblegum and kick some ass.
Kick some ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. True Grit. I really love True Grit, and I really think they could do another one. I think Jeff Bridges and Matt Damon together would do a really interesting movie if they wanted to. Inglourious Bastards. I'd love to see actual more stories of the Bastards. That's one I thought of. Any more you guys can think of that you'd like to see a continuation? I've got one left, but I'm saving that until because I know Justin will be right on board.
Well, of course, Serenity needs to have a goddamn sequel made.
Or you could fucking just do it now. You could do it now.
Yesterday. Because unfortunately, Nathan Fillion is getting a little older and...
a little plump.
That Castle Money is obviously good.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, my man crush is getting a little heavy. So they need to get him back on a good regimen.
He can afford some cheesecake now that he's got some steady income rolling in.
Yeah, I would love to see sequels to films that I personally adore. Speed Racer. It'll never be done. I am thankful as fuck that they're doing another Chronicles of Riddick movie. I wish it was more in the vein of the second film, whereas they're kind of going back to the first feel, which for me is a step back because I am such a huge space opera kind of fan.
I honestly don't think they would have gotten the budget.
I don't think they would have either. They're doing what they could, and I would rather have something rather than nothing. I really wish they would get rolling on a Star Trek sequel, because I loved what J.J. Abrams did with the first film, kind of rebooting the franchise, and I'm really curious where they're going to take it, but everybody's busy, and I don't know when they're eventually going to get around to doing that. But I don't know, as reboots and sequels, I'm so tired of having all of my sequel hopes dashed over and over. The occasional Chronicles of Riddick does help me feel better.
Mm-hmm. I wish there was still a Serenity too, but honestly, I don't think he could fit in the coat anymore. Brian, do you ever watch Castle?
No, I don't.
Oh, well, Nathan Fillion has put on a few pounds, and they do their best to hide it, but damn.
He's a handsome guy. I think he could jump on that treadmill and get back into fighting shape in no time. So don't let that hold anybody back.
I'm hoping with Joss Whedon's doing the Avengers, maybe he'll get some clout and make everybody happy. But that would be my dream, is to get a Serenity too.
Captain Hammer needs to have a cameo in the Avengers.
You're just going to keep plugging it every week until
he needs it. Gotta be there.
Just in case Joss Whedon happens to listen to this podcast.
Just in the background. He doesn't have to, appear center screen. Just somewhere.
Do you think he could fit in the tights right now?
I think the dude could get back in shape.
Yeah, he could. He could. I don't think he's grossly. It's just every time I see that, I'm like, man, you had the summer off. Couldn't you jog to work?
I've noticed he's a little heavier than he used to be, but then again, you'd think he'd want to stay in shape because he's always standing next to what's her name,
gorgeous,
stunningly gorgeous. I would want to be in the best shape of my life, just in case she were to turn around to me one day and go, let's go hit the trailer.
All right, with that, that's pretty much all I have. Anybody want to add anything for wrap that section up?
Murray, get on it. Give me a Ghostbusters 3 for fuck's sake and be done with it.
Yeah, stop being a stingy bastard.
What about anything that's too iconic?
What do you mean? Oh, anything that I don't think can't be touched. I would say I never want to see an Indiana Jones reboot. I would accept another sequel if they could make up for that fucking last one. I'd be okay with that. And I think Star Wars is probably one that I think you just let it be. I don't think if you want to make more of them and you want to make it in a different world or something along those lines, I'm okay with that. But you leave Han Solo and Luke Skywalker alone.
Yeah, that was one of the ones I was thinking about was Raiders of the Lost Ark or the Indiana Jones, franchise. But which it's kind of funny if you, I think it came out yesterday or today, but Steven Spielberg basically kind of backhandedly kind of blasted George Lucas.
No,
blamed him for all the alien stuff with the last Indiana Jones movie.
Well, I know he said that before, that Lucas wouldn't let him do the movie unless there was aliens because he was so stuck on the fucking idea.
Yeah, he was basically saying just, it's his idea, it's his story, so I let him do it. But he was kind of basically just saying, it was all him. It was all George
I got no
Lucas.
part of that shit.
It recently came out on DVD. What about a Jurassic Park remake? Do you think they would ever want to do that?
I think if you want to tell different stories in Jurassic Park, but the original, I say just leave it be. I would go see like Jurassic Park and then whatever continuation title you want to use. I just don't want to see Jurassic Park. Here's the story again. We get it. And I think Steven Spielberg, that's just one of those directors where you're really taking a shot to try to one-up him. I'd say the same thing about E.T. or Close Encounters of the Third Kind. There's just certain movies I think you should just leave alone. The Godfather, don't even fuck with it. You're just going to tarnish our childhoods.
E.T. definitely, I would hate to see a remake done.
You could never do it and make it the same.
I can't believe that movie's not out on Blu-ray yet.
It's coming out. It's coming out soon. I saw an article on it last week.
That's what we call a segue.
And he is... that is what we call a segue. And by the way, Steven Spielberg said in the article that I read that he's going to release the original version on the Blu-ray.
That's good. Get rid of that walkie-talkie bullshit.
Yep. Because he felt bad about that. He thought he shouldn't have changed it. What were you going to say, Brian? I'm sorry.
Oh, nothing.
Okay. Yeah, it probably wasn't special anyway. So, with that is From the Outside In. That was our topic this week. Next week, we will see what we have to talk about when we get there. We don't know yet. So if you'd like to suggest anything, please email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. We would love to take your topics and talk about them. The Couch. This is where we talk about DVD, Blu-ray releases, anything on home video. I guess now video on demand, whatever else you can think of. What's coming out on November 1st? Cars 2. It's a sequel about cars. Crazy Stupid Love, which is pretty much every kind of love you can have. Water for Elephants. That's that Reese Witherspoon and what's his name from Twilight movie.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
God, how did I know that?
How do you know it that fast? Taylor Lautner. That was my first answer. Trespass, which is that Nicolas Cage, Nicole Kidman movie that went straight to video on demand, and now it's going on DVD, so I'm guessing it didn't do very well. And Californication Season 4. Of those fantastic releases, what would you guys purchase?
Ooh.
Yeah.
If I had to purchase one, probably Crazy Stupid Love, because I didn't really like Cars all that much, so Cars 2 has no appeal to me.
I would go with Cars 2 just because I did like the first one.
Because you sound like Mater.
You sound like Mater.
Get her done. But anyway, probably Cars 2. I guess. Just, I don't want to, but if I had to.
Yeah, I don't want to buy any of them, but I'd probably buy Crazy Stupid Love if I had to buy any of them. Just because I didn't... What's that?
I'm sorry, go on.
No, I didn't really love Cars and have no desire whatsoever to see Cars 2. I'm really burned out on Owen Wilson and his voice. And just Owen Wilson in general. So I want to see Crazy Stupid Love. Plus I like Ryan Gosling, unlike Brian. So with that, we are going to do our flashbacks now before we wrap up the show. And our flashbacks are basically obscure or odd titles that maybe you hadn't thought about that our hosts can recommend. And hopefully when you leave the show after your fit of anger that someone just had, you can watch and enjoy. With that, Brian, you got the first one. Here's your 90 seconds. Sell me your movie. All
right. I thought about this movie while thinking about our other topic there about movies, iconic movies and stuff. And one of the ones I thought about that shouldn't be redone is Enter the Dragon, the Bruce Lee movie. I just don't think that is one that you could redo. So that reminded me of a movie that I've seen recently. It came out a couple of years ago, but it's called Ip Man.
Oh, yes. Done again.
And this is basically it's a movie about the guy that's what I took from it was that he is the one that trained Bruce Lee and in how to fight Wing Chun. And that's Wing Chun, not Wang Chung. Everybody Wang Chung tonight. So let's get that joke out of the way early.
All right.
This movie, it's just beautifully shot. It's it chronicles the life of Ip Man, who's, like I say, he basically created this Wing Chun style of kung fu during this time, the late 1800s or early 1900s. I don't know. China invaded Japan, or Japan invaded China. Yeah, Japan invaded China is what it was. Sorry.
And kicked their ass.
You could probably cut that down a little bit, Aaron. So
okay.
Anyway, so there's this little neighborhood basically of all these different types of karate or kung fu, and this is kind of a hotbed to where if you wanted to learn this stuff, this is where you go to learn. And this guy Ip Man is legendary, but he really doesn't do the school thing. But basically, he ends up kicking a lot of ass. The Japanese are like, hey, why don't you train our soldiers? And basically, he says, "Fuck you." So, and it's about his, struggle against the Japanese and everything. So, but this movie was just. It's just one of those movies that you pick up and it turns out to be way better than what you were kind of expecting. So definitely check that out. It's you can get it on Netflix, Amazon Prime, and just about anywhere else.
And it's Ip Man, like IP?
IP space MAN.
Okay.
And it actually did so good that they've actually come out or are coming out with Ip Man 2.
Oh, it's already out on Blu-ray.
Is it? Okay, I knew it was.
It's not as good as Ip Man, but it's still pretty good. Donnie Yen outstanding.
Yeah.
Oh, so you recommend it too. So now I have to watch it so I don't feel like the loser of the group.
And apparently he did so good that the son of Ip Man or the grandson of Ip Man basically said that it was like looking at his dad or grandfather or something like that. He said his moves are just like the real Ip Man. So,
well, amazingly enough, Donnie Yen didn't know Wing Chun until he got picked for this movie and learned it for the film. That's how fucking talented this guy is.
wow.
Very cool. And that's Ip Man. That's Brian's suggestion. Justin, what is your flashback?
All right, last week I actually thought Scott was going to do this one, and if the name of this film had passed his lips, I was just going to have a conniption and shut down my Skype and go to bed. But luckily, he chose a different film because he was talking about a musical, and I think he mentioned England.
Mm-hmm.
And even though this doesn't take place in England, he was so close at first, I thought he was going to hit it, but he didn't. Luckily, he didn't. My choice for this week is a 2006 film, and it's one that I watched only because a couple of people that I know recommended that I do so. And I watched it, fell so in love with this movie. Yet no one else I know has watched this film, and they're all fucking missing out. And it's a film called Once.
Oh.
This film is a very, very simple movie. And if you want a close approximation to it, the closest I can get you is Before Sunset. Or actually Before Sunrise. It's a story about two people, one of them Glenn Hansard and a woman named Markita Erglova, who in the film, you don't even ever get their names. In the credits, they're just guy and girl. But it takes place in Ireland, actually in Dublin. And Glenn, who in the real world is a musician, he's in a folk band, he's also in another band, and he's friends with the writer-director John Carney. It's all about Glenn Hansard, who's a street musician out there trying to earn a living doing it. And one day he meets Markita Erglova, who passes him by on the street, strikes up a conversation because she's kind of enamored with his musicianship. She learns that his father is a vacuum repair person. And so one day she just shows up on the streets, her vacuum in hand, and a friendship starts up between these two people. She's from one country. I'm not exactly sure which one she's from. It's a Slavic country. Of course, he's from Ireland. But it's through music that they find commonality and friendship. And there's just a really touching scene kind of early on where she takes him to a music shop. And because she wants to hear him play. And so they start playing a song that he had started writing. And they just start playing it together, and it is so beautiful. And the song is called what is it called?
It's called Fuck.
Falling Slowly. Thank God I remembered it. Falling Slowly. And it is such a beautiful moment. And the rest of the film just follows them as they kind of develop this musical relationship, and they do an album and pull some other people in. It's very simple. There is not a lot going on. It's mostly about the music and these two people. I cannot recommend it enough, though. The music is gorgeous. The story is well done. I wish more people would see it. And the ending really surprised me. I did not think it was going to end the way that it did. And yeah, I liked it. I liked the ending quite a bit. I wish more people would see it.
The ending, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
In most of these films, when you have two people who are forming a relationship, usually by the end of that movie, that relationship gets solidified in some way, and you feel like these are two people who are meant for each other. I compare this to Before Sunrise, if only because both films leave you at the end wondering, are they going to get together or are they not? Because there's no real solidification. And for me, I really enjoyed that sense of the unknown, and that there is still perhaps more story to be told. If they were to do a sequel to this, I would be really glad. I just hope that they keep to the minimalist style and the minimalist budget, because I think it costs like $160,000 to make this film.
Oh, wow.
And I wish they would stick to that real bare bones style. It's a beautiful film.
I'll actually check that out. So that's Once is Justin's. And Ip Man is Brian's selection for the week. So if you guys can go find that. And where's Once available?
I do know that it's available on DVD. I bought it on Blu-ray, but I actually bought it through Amazon UK.
Oh.
Luckily, it is region allowable here. I think it's region 0 or something.
Okay.
So it is playable here, but I got it on Blu-ray through Amazon. I don't know if it's available on Netflix. I'll check that out for you.
Okay, no worries. So that's Once and Ip Man. Check those out. With that, that is our show for this week. Next week, we're going to review the new releases that are coming out November 11th. You can also reach us at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. That's our website, thehollywoodoutsiders.com. You can email us if you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, or you just want to send us a, hey, great job, or hey, you suck. Whatever it is you want to send us, you can reach us at feedback at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. That's feedback at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. You can reach us on Facebook at facebook.com/thehollywoodoutsiders and Twitter H_outsider. Please subscribe to our podcast. iTunes, Google Reader, Stitcher Radio, whatever the hell you use is there. So find it and click it. Anything you guys want to say before we wrap up?
I think I want to go see Real Steel again.
Again?
It's so funny in retrospect. The more I think about it, the more I want to see it. I actually downloaded a few of the songs from not the score soundtrack, but from the music, the songs that they use in the film. Eminem did a couple of songs that I'm not a huge Eminem fan, but they were damn good songs in the movie, so I downloaded those. Okay. It's a good film. Fuck it.
Justin's going to plug Real Steel to that fuckers on video. I promise you.
And don't see the Mist's ending.
Oh, God. Brian.
My final mention on that.
You know, it's funny. I pulled up IMDb today, and on the front page, they had some of their top horror movies, and The Mist was right there. Like, it was one of two movies that were pictured.
Booyah!
And I couldn't help but laugh. First thing I thought was Justin going, "Don't watch the fucking ending." So
it's all good right up until the ending.
I love the ending. And the ending will make you fucking scream. And some people in a good way, some people in a bad way. It depends on your personal situation. How's that?
Apparently Sean liked it too.
Yeah. You're definitely on one side of the fence at the end of that movie.
That's all right.
You know, yeah. Justin just happens to be on the wrong side, so don't listen to him.
I'm okay with that.
All right, and with that, we are the Hollywood Outsider. Please join us next week, a week from, whenever you download this, a week later, we'll have a new one up. Feel free to listen to the rest of our podcasts. They're all available online. With that, make sure when you go to the theater, buy popcorn.
Decision for me letting you go. No time to visit, I just wanna go home. You're unable to understand that I'm doing the best I can, and all I know is all I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home.
Sweet. Are you guys still having fun? I mean, doing this one?
Am I having fun doing my show or
no,
your show?
This one. It's
I love
no, dude. I checked out episode 2.
Fucking hate you.
And you guys are fun to talk to.
Aw.
And I don't want to suck anybody's dick or nothing, but you guys are fun to talk with.
If you're offering, I could use it right now. Stress reliever.
You know,
I mean, Scott sucks, but you two are all right.
I mean, I'm not one to turn away a Hummer. So.
She's not there. There's no. Is it her hoo-hoo or something?
No.
We call it a hoo-ha.
Hoo-ah.
No.
No, that's Al Pacino.
Oh,
that's Al
sorry.
Pacino.
I figured that's what he meant the whole movie. Do you see it? I do. Hoo-ah! What are you doing
Adam
for 3
Carolla
minutes?
was always talking about you should design your office around spunk shui, where basically your monitor is never facing your door. You should always have your monitor where when somebody comes in your room, they can't immediately see what's on it. That sort of shit.
That's funny.
Should keep that.
I thought that was just a given.
I wish somebody would have told me that.
Oh God! Oh, can it give me 20 minutes?
What the fuck did I come back to?
It's us jerking off.
Nice.
Do you mind?
I'll be back in 10 seconds then.
For me letting you go, no time to visit, I just wanna go home. You're never to understand that I'm doing the best I can, and all I know is all I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home. My love is blind, I just gotta clear my mind, and all I know is all I'd rather be home. You said I brought the pain, I just get it out of mine, and all I know is all I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home. I'd just rather